shut the door tight. It was kind of a little open. I pushed it tight and I walked back over. I said, what you need? He said, I just wanted between you and me, nobody else, that I don't want Patty back. I looked at him and he said, you want me to hit her, right? He said, I don't know what you mean by that, but I just don't want her back into our lives because she disgraced us. And it'd be better if something happened to her and it'd be over with. I looked at him and I said, Miss Hearst, I said, no way in hell that I'd even go look for Patty for you. And if I found her, I said, you wouldn't get her. And I said, furthermore, I think the most terrible father that I ever talked to. And I said, I want no part of it. But I said, I'm keeping all your money for my troubles. And I said, if you want to go to your newspaper and write a story on me, go ahead and do it. I said, he said, I already did a story on you. He said, you owe me a little bit for that. I said, what I owe you from that? He said, well, I did a front page on you. And I said, you know what, Mr. Hearst, I said, you made more money off of that than anybody did. So I said, let's forget about that. And so I just turned and walked out of the room. I slammed the door hard going out. And so I got this the center of the hall, turned, and looked at the psychic up there by the door. And I was taking my time because I was thinking, if somebody was going to gun me, this would be a time, And so all of a sudden I heard this woman coming up behind me from out of the back end of the hallway. I don't know if she come out of the kitchen or dining room or living room or what, but she come out in the hallway. She says, Mr. Ward, please stop. I said, okay, who are you? Well, I'm Mrs. Hearst. And she says, I don't want Patty. I said, Miss Hearst, I wouldn't kill Patty. There's not enough money in the world to make me kill Patty. And she was crying. She says, I love her. And I said, I'll tell you what I'll do, Miss Hearst. I'll go on to Cuba, and I'll see if she's there. And if she's not there, I'll come back, and I'll hunt her until I find her. And when I find her, I'll bring her to you and give her to you. How does that sound? And she was real happy. She hugged my neck and thanked me. And so I just turned around and walked out. And I told the psychic, I said, you don't need to follow me. I'm through with the whole thing. And so I left there and drove back straight to Kelseyville, crossed the Golden Gate, and went up that way to Kelseyville. And next morning, we headed for Ottawa. And we made it in 2 days. And the third day, we arrived at Ottawa. And so I thought earlier that I had the new pickup, but I bought it right after Ottawa, and I didn't have the pickup. I had the Pinto. And so when I found where the consuls was, and I went there, and the guard kind of let me in the gate, and it was all fenced in, way high fences, and it didn't look very good, but I was in free country Canada, and nothing was going to happen to it. And so I knocked at the door. And so a pretty little girl come, and right in back of her was this large, huge, black human. He was completely black, black. And he said, what do you want here? And so I figured he recognized me, and he did, And he said, we don't want you back in Cuba. And I said, I only want to go there for a couple of weeks. I said, I'd like to talk to you. I said, you guys owe me that at least. I said, I did a lot for Fidel, and everybody did. And a little favor like this is not much, paying back for the rest of my life 31 times for him and to help him. And I said, we actually helped him win the revolution. So he said, come on in. And he put me in a little small room and a guard over me. Had a, looked like to me, was a Beretta pistol that had a long clip in it. Well, all Berettas are, the good Berettas has 15 shells, but it looked like it had 30 because the clip was very long. It was like an automatic machine gun. And I imagine the trigger was filed in the Beretta, which was automatic. And so I sat there, and I got nervous over my family out there. And so I was trying to figure out what my best bet was to take this guy. He wasn't a big man, but he's very small. But he had a big gun. That was the only thing worried me. And so I was almost ready to take him, or try it anyway. And the black man come back in. He had the paperwork ready, and he said, you can go in Havana for 2 weeks. He said, you don't need no money. He said, when you're there, you're on us. And he said, I don't want you staying no longer than 2 weeks. I want you out of there, and don't ever come back again and ask to go back in. I said, I won't. And he says, and furthermore, you don't go anywhere near Castro. If he's in the area, you avoid it and get away from him. I agreed to that. So we went out to the car. They let us out. And so went across the same bridge that we crossed with the bringing the boy home from the Vietnam War. Later, that was a bridge that we let him walk across. And so the bridge looked so familiar to me. And so I went ahead and crossed and started going down through New York and Virginia. And first thing you know, I was all the way down in Georgia. And the kids wanted to stop at Okefenokee Swamp and take a boat ride, so we did. And then they wanted to stop at Everglades, and we did again. And so then we went on to Boca Raton, and I got a place there in Boca Raton, and I started looking at boats to rent. And I found, right on down the seaboard, I found a nice boat. It was about 35 foot, and it had just a small little cabin on it, but we didn't need a big cabin. And so I rented it for a month, and we took it on around. We ran around Miami, and we come in at Key Largo. We crossed, got on the Gulf side, and we went on down to Marathon Key. And so I've been down there many times, and so I pulled the boat into the dock by a motel, which a motel, you could almost take your boat inside your motel room. And so we rented that room, and it was still like 3 days before we were supposed to go in Havana, because we had a date on the visa that we arrived, and I didn't want to go early, have any static come up. And so I told the boys, I said, well, we'll just stay around here and fish a little bit and have fun, because we had a nice one. The last day we were supposed to leave the next morning. It's really a coincidence. And I had the radio on out there, and I was talking on the phone. I was trying to see if I heard the radio right, and I called the paper, and so the paper said yes. Patty Hearst says they found her in San Francisco, walking up a hill with 2 or 3 of the people she was with, and I knew that was over.